Hey Magic fans, it's Paul from the Let's Talk Magic podcast, formerly the Orlando Magic UK, here with your somewhat late in the day, and I do apologise for that, real life has got in the way of doing this, but here with your game day preview of Orlando Magic's game day number 22 at home tonight against the Detroit Pistons. We are somewhat depleted and face the Pistons, who are struggling. The Magic will want to overcome the disappointment of back-to-back defeats for the first time since the losses of November the 6th and the 9th, which were game days 6 and 7, so it's been a while. As I say, we are back in the Amway Center tonight, and UK tip time is midnight, which is 7 p.m. for our friends in Orlando. If you're going, please make sure you are loud and proud. The team are going to need you tonight. To watch here in the UK, you will need an active NBA League Pass subscription again. So let's talk about the Magic as we always do first. 14 and 7 on the season so far. We've lost the last 2 and have won 8 of our last 10 games played. The home record, we are at 9 and 2. Technically, as David Steele is continually pointing out, we are 9 and 1 in the Amway Center as the Atlanta home court defeat happened in Mexico City. Currently, we are standing third in the East, conceding a slightly larger 110.5 points per game, which is now the 7th best figure in the NBA, whereas we have been up as high as 2nd and 3rd in that rating. Points per game, we are improving on what we are scoring. We are scoring 114.1 points per game, which is the 13th best scoring record in the NBA. So our offensive rating is 17, the defence is 4th, which again is a slight drop. We were first defensive rated very, very recently. It's now 5 consecutive games that the Magic have conceded 117 points or more. This has seen Orlando fall in those 5 games in particular from ranking as the NBA's best defence and conceding only 106.8 points per game at that stage to today's figures. You can see there's been a drop off in that end. There's no hiding from the fact that Orlando have been sliding backwards from a defensive standpoint. The Magic season ratings have dropped back again, but when you look at those last 5 games in isolation, they rank among some of the worst defensive figures in the NBA. Something that Orlando pride themselves on. But in the same period, it's not all doom and gloom. The offensive ratings have improved massively, have really jumped forward. Scoring leader is now once again Paolo Banchero, who has jumped to 20.6 points per game. His performance against Cleveland actually pushed Franz Wagner back to 2nd with 20.4 points per game. And 3rd and leading the bench for the team is Cole Anthony, who again has seen his production increase to 15.4 points per game. Paolo is also the team leader on assists. Jalen Suggs is our leader on steals, and Goga Bitadze still leads the team with 1.4 blocks per game. Mo Wagner, 2nd in the league still in all categories relating to charges drawn. So last game out, we faced the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Orlando fell to a 111-121 loss after an opening quarter that saw the Cavs score 37 points. That quarter was below an acceptable level of basketball as far as the Magic concerned, and it saw us have a 17-point deficit at the end of that quarter, and that was very soon extended to 23 points. It turned out to be an unassailable hill for the Magic to climb, but man did they try, and got it back to within 5 points midway through the 3rd quarter. Unfortunately, it seemed that every time Orlando put a run together, Cleveland were just able to find something to push themselves forward and break the Magic's momentum. The game was very much decided in the difference in 3-point shooting, which saw Cleveland outscore the Magic by 36 points. The Magic, it seemed that they just brought a collection of bricks along to throw. They were horrible from range, going 2 of 23 for the game. Cleveland hit 7 of their first 9, but through improved Magic defence later in the game, they were eventually slowed down, making 14 of 34. Paolo Banchero was simply spectacular, erupting for a career best 42 points. Cole Anthony 19, Franz Wagner 14, Anthony Black and Mo Wagner both had 11, and they were rounding out the double-digit scoring. Anthony Black, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero and Goga Bitadze were our starting five, and from the bench it was Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, Mo Wagner, Joe Ingles and Caleb Houston that came out. Now, as to tonight, the Magic injury report is beginning to have an all too familiar look about it, with 4 names on there that have spent altogether too long on this list over recent seasons. Wendell Carter Jr., Markelle Fultz both remain out. Jonathan Isaac is listed as day-to-day. However, it's been confirmed that he is not playing tonight as a result of this ankle issue that he's been suffering. Jalen Suggs, the guy's been so good for us so far this season, but unfortunately he left the court against Cleveland during that second quarter, being helped from the court. Whilst he is also listed as day-to-day, he has been confirmed also as not playing tonight as a result of the ankle sprain that he suffered in that game, and it did look painful. Jet Howard, he is available for us again, having now been recalled from a second period on a G League assignment. Two-way player Trevelyan Queen, he is unavailable again. He is still on the G League assignment. Kevon Harris, as we've said before, is yet to suit up. Coach's decision for him not to play, but it is supposed to be around rehabbing his knee. Therefore, tonight Orlando will have to have a different starting unit. I think it's fair to expect that Gary Harris will come in to that starting five along with Anthony Black, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero and Goga Bitadze. Through Harris likely starting and with no JI from the bench, it would be reasonable to expect that both Caleb Houston again sees minutes, along with Jet Harris and possibly Chuma Okeke playing a part. Take a look at the Detroit Pistons and a quick look back to start with. Last season, diabolical 17 and 65 record, finished bottom 15th in the East. A new and very, very expensive head coach was appointed in Monty Williams. That saw previous coach Dwayne Casey move to a front office position, and it had the look of what was a positive step for this team that kept the vast majority of its very young and talented squad together. From the draft, at number 5, they took Isaiah Thompson. He was soon followed in the first round also by guard Marcus Sasser. They picked up a couple of vets in Joe Harris and Monte Morris to bring experience to their bench and some depth there. However, at this moment in time, they are 2-19 on the season. They have not won any of their last 10 games. They are 15th in the East and hold the worst record in the NBA. They're scoring 108.8 points per game, which is 27th in the league, and conceding 118, which is 23rd. Offensively, they rate at 27th. Defensively, 24th. Not good figures again. So season 2023-24 was supposed to be one where they were expected to see this young squad make some tangible growth. So far, as I say, it's not happened, and they have in fact lost their last 18 games straight. This team takes, however, the second most 2-point shots in the league, but they have a success rate of only 52%, which is 24th in the league for that category. They do have a good assist rate and are strong on rebounding, particularly on the offensive end. On defence, they are 3rd in the league at restricting opponents on second chance points, and they are also pretty effective at defending the 3-point opportunity. Kay Cunningham, Bojan Bogdanovic are joint leaders on the team with 22 points per game. Cunningham is also providing 7.4 assists per game. Jalen Duran, Isaiah Thompson are providing rebounds and blocks aplenty. Duran is averaging a points and rebound double-double per game, whilst making blocks at a rate of 1.4 per game. So that's the same as Goga Bitadze. However, we'll come to this further, but he's going to be a big miss for them tonight. He is out. Their last item, was a 116-102 home court defeat to the Memphis Grizzlies, and Detroit led at the half, but all their good work was undone by what was a disastrous 34-18 final quarter. Bogdanovic led with 22 points, Durant had 17, Cunningham 16. They started Cade Cunningham, Killian Hayes, Bojan Bogdanovic, Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duran. Jaden Ivey, Isaiah Livers, Alex Burks, Isaiah Thompson, James Wiseman and Marcus Sasser all came from the bench. They do have some depth. Marvin Bagley III and Kevin Knox were available but did not play. So tonight, as I say, their injury report sees Jalen Duran out. He is a huge, huge blow to be missing for them. Joe Harris and Monte Morris are also both listed as out. So as with Orlando, there will have to be a change to their starting five, having lost Jalen Duran. Expect James Wiseman as the obvious choice to probably come into that position at starting, whilst Marvin Bagley III likely to pick up the backup minutes. Head-to-head with the Detroit Pistons, 123 regular season games played, and the score stands at 53-70 to the Pistons. Last season it was a 2-2 draw, seeing each team win both home games. Orlando and Detroit have recently been exchanging short runs where we'd win a couple, they win a couple, we win one, they win three, we win two, those sorts of things. They have not been a easy team for us, and in the last 12 games played, each team has won 6. So final thoughts here. From any of these previous game previews that I've done, and if you watch our podcast, you will know that I'm not one to disrespect an opponent or say things like this is an easy game. So what I will say here tonight is that this is about as good an opportunity for the Magic to get back to winning ways as you can get in the NBA on current form. This fixture is the final one of the 2 games added after elimination from the in-season tournament, and neither team will underestimate their opponent. There may still be some extra desire, shall we put, from players on both sides to have the upper hand tonight after the brawl that we saw last season in Detroit between these two. But so far for Monty Williams, as we say, the road has been a rocky one as Detroit head coach. Cade Cunningham is said to be frustrated. Jaden Ivey, having been dropped to the bench from his starting role, is rumoured to be unhappy at that development. However, if it wasn't for a poor final quarter, they would have had an extra win. They would have had a good win over Memphis. And you have to remember, though, a wounded animal can be a very, very dangerous prospect to handle. So, Orlando, as a team that defines itself by their ability to play defence, will have to find some way of holding the threat that Detroit offer. So, it's an opportunity, but it's not an easy one. So, if you enjoyed this preview, please give it a thumbs up. Follow us on YouTube, on all our socials, and subscribe to the podcast. It really does help us do what we do. Share these, we would genuinely appreciate it. But more importantly, as we always finish this by saying, go Magic, let's get that W.